Maybe I should finish this eyebrow before I film the intro. Hold please. Okay, that's looking so much worse because now it's just eyebrows, but either way I need to get this video started. What's up everyone, Erica here, and I'm back today with another video for you. For you today, I have a very informal video. I wanted to sit and chat with you guys. Today, I'm gonna be sharing with you all my labor and delivery story. It's one that I have been really looking forward to filming, but one that I wanted to get on kind of quickly because I'm like, the longer I wait, the more I'm gonna forget, and it's already happened. Like, I've forgotten quite a bit, so hopefully I can still answer your guys' questions without just completely drawing a blank. So the day that I'm filming this is November 6th, 2023. So my son, Jack, actually turns 8 months old tomorrow. He was born on March 7th of this year, and oh my gosh, you guys know I love that baby. My goodness, do I love that kid. Obviously he's my baby, but he's just incredible and the best. So anyway, I kind of God, how long ago was this? Okay, so back in April, I'm also getting ready for work. So I'm gonna just be casually doing my makeup at the same time. We'll see if I'm still able to multitask. Also, I'm really exposing myself in more ways than one. I'm gonna be sharing my labor and delivery story with you guys, but I'm also just like filming in the disaster that is my makeup room right now. I feel like you guys accept me for who I am at this point, so we're just gonna roll with it. Also, Jack is asleep right now. Obviously, that's like the only time I can film these days, right? When he's asleep. So hopefully I'm able to like get through the video because you know your girl can talk. She can talk. Couple of like questions that I feel if you don't, like if this is the first time you're clicking on my channel or the first time you're seeing me, you wouldn't know that my son is actually my second baby. My first is my daughter, Juliana, who is 5. She will be 5.5 in December. So Jack is my second born, and he is, you know, so it's my second labor. I had both kids naturally, and not naturally as in like no epidural. I will get to that. Like I didn't need a C-section for either of them. So all the way back on April 15th, so like Jack was a month old, I put one of those little question things up on Instagram and I asked you guys if you had questions regarding my labor, or you know, if I wanted to film a labor and delivery video, what questions do you guys have for me? And I did get a few, so I figured I would answer those and maybe that would help jog my memory a little bit, if you will. Okay, no question, just super impressed you made TikToks while in labor. Okay, you guys, that's like the perfect one for me to start out on because it's a little bit more light. I filmed 2 TikToks while I was in labor, and it's funny because my pregnancy with Jack was a lot more difficult than my pregnancy with Juliana, and especially towards pretty much the whole time, but definitely towards the end, I was like pretty much immobile. Like everything was uncomfortable. I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand, I couldn't lay, I couldn't, you know, like I couldn't lay on my back, I couldn't lay on my side. Everything was uncomfortable and painful. Not just uncomfortable, super, 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 super painful. Like I didn't want to sit at the dining table to eat. I didn't want to stand and eat. I had to kind of like prop myself up in the bathroom so I could lean on something. It was very weird. I had a lot of downtime is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like I was laying down a lot, sitting down a lot. So I was on TikTok. Pregnancy TikTok really got the best of me, and I found a bunch of TikToks that I wanted to make when the baby, like when Jack was on his way. And there's a lot of waiting around, okay? In case you've never had a baby, there's a lot of waiting around. You have to kind of be seen in this like first room, and they check you to make sure that like the fluid is amniotic fluid and stuff like that. So the TikTok that we made to like announce that Jack was on his way, that oh my god, it's happening. I had seen that one, and for those of you that don't know, it's a quote from The Office, or it's a scene from The Office, should I say. And that is, that not even arguably, that The Office is mine and my husband's favorite show like ever. And like we couldn't not do that. Like, so it's a very chaotic scene, and it fit perfect because it is kind of like a chaotic situation, but it absolutely wasn't. So like the TikTok, it makes me laugh because you guys obviously weren't there. So I'm sitting, okay, I'm like this. They've got the monitor like strapped up to my belly. I've got like no pants on. And I'm sitting there with my phone like, no, JD, when the timer goes off, you need to go, oh my God. No, you need to go, what's the procedure, everyone? You know, like, so it was so funny. Like, I can understand. Like, I feel like everybody was thinking, oh my God, Erika, like, I can't believe you filmed TikToks while you were like in labor. But I assure you, both TikToks I filmed, I was very calm and like not in a ton of pain. The next one we filmed, or like the next parts of that TikTok, I'll put it in the video, but like the parts of the TikTok that you've seen are like when we had a lot of downtime. I was not in a ton of pain. Like, the doctors were coming in and out, but like I wasn't embarrassed because I wasn't doing anything. Like, I was just laying there. So thank you for being impressed with me filming TikToks, but I assure you, I wasn't like, you know, fighting through this excruciating pain at those moments. If I was in that much pain, I would not be filming TikToks, you guys, trust me.
Oh my God, okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you for the credit. Okay, somebody asked if I tore this time, and then they said, I know I'll never do the VBAC, but always wonder what that's like. So I'll be honest with you guys, I think I did tear because I for sure, and you know what, I did not do a little PSA at the beginning of this video because I kind of feel like I don't need to. Like, if you're clicking on my labor and delivery video, you know this is about to get graphic, okay? I'm about to keep it 100 with y'all. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. So if you can't handle that, you can't handle the truth. I hate when I make myself laugh. If you guys can't handle the truth of this, or I'm being very serious about this actually, if you are pregnant and you know you're already worried or scared about labor and delivery, like, I would recommend you not watch this now. Nothing super traumatic happened to me, but like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys and I am gonna give you the details. So if you're not in the mental state, the right mental space or capacity to hear about that, then you can come back another time. I will not judge you, girl. Do what is best for you. But all the rest of you, I'm gonna be real. So for the weak stomached or the easily grossed out, whatever, you can be gone. You cannot watch this video is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I did tear with both kids and they did stitch me up, but what I was gonna say is, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't know. When I'm all over the place. When I was pregnant with Juliana, since she was my first, JD and I took like a birthing class, and I loved it. We both really loved it. We didn't do it this time because since COVID, they changed it and they were all virtual, which I thought super sucked because we were gonna do it again, but I'm like, if it's all virtual, like, no. So we didn't do it with Jack. But we really liked it. Not obviously, yes, because of the information that they gave, but also for the connection that it gave. Like, JD and I, I remember being super emotional when we did it when I was pregnant with Juliana, and I really enjoyed it. So we wanted to do it again. But in that class, they told us that is it episiotomy? I think that's what it's called, where they cut you so you don't tear. They don't do that anymore. And I don't know if that's just here in California. I don't know if that's just a law that's been passed worldwide. I don't know. Maybe it changed back. I have no idea. So please don't quote me on this. But back in 2018, when we took this class, they told us that they don't do that anymore. They don't cut you ahead of time. If you tear on your own, then they stitch you up. So yes, I did tear with both kids. And I remember with Juliana, I felt it. Like, I had the epidural with Juliana, then I had her, and they were like, I was doing my skin to skin with her in that like golden hour. The golden hour is after the baby is born, and they give you an hour for the baby to just be on your skin. It's the moment that you connect with your baby, and it's like the hour right after they're born, you know, if all is good and the baby's healthy. So while I was having my golden hour with Juliana, they started stitching me up, and I was like, I can feel that. And so they sprayed some numbing gel. It did not work. The numbing, whatever the hell they did on me, did not work. So I felt them stitching me up. With Jack, I did not feel it this time. And that's because I had to get something stronger for my epidural with Jack. It's hard because I'm trying to like answer the questions, but I'm also trying to like not skip over any details I want to share. Oh, Holly says no questions here. Just can't wait to see your face again and hear about your experience. Thank you, Holly. She's like the sweetest ever. Okay, what was one thing you forgot to pack or realized you should have taken? So that's a really good question. That's from Norma. Hi, Norma. So I did a whole what's in my hospital bag video. I will link it if you're interested. It's like, that video did surprisingly well, which is great. But I wanted to like redo the video and share what I used from my hospital bag and what I did not use. So I will say the one outfit that I picked for Jack for his coming home outfit, even in my hospital bag video, I think I even said something like, this is not the most practical outfit. Maybe I should bring something else. I didn't. So that's probably one thing. I would have picked a more logical, like a smarter outfit to put the baby in. Like easier. I don't know what the word is I'm trying to say. Like more ease to put Jack in, because it was a little bit ridiculous. The outfit that I picked for him. The outfit itself is incredible and I love it so much, but it was a little tricky getting it on him. And I remember that like JD, I'm like, I hope this is worth it. And JD's like, me too. The baby's like, I'm like, I'm so sorry. So that's one thing. Maybe like a same level of cuteness for his first coming home outfit, but like less tricky to get on him. But I definitely want to do a video on like, you know, here's everything that I brought with me in the hospital bag, but here's what I used and here's what I didn't use. So that's probably one I will film. Who was more nervous, you or JD? JD. JD. So I do want to include clips of the day. So I'll probably roll the clip here after this one, but my water broke at like 6. Juliana, like when I was pregnant, my labor with Juliana, I think my water broke at like midnight or something. So we're driving in the dead of night, right? With Jack, by the time we got out the door, we're in the car and it's like, I don't know, 7:15 or something like that. And we hit rush hour traffic. So JD's like, shit, like we're gonna hit all this rush hour traffic. And I'll put the video in because he was like, we need a siren so people know to get out of the way. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, it'll be okay. Like I was chill. I'm like, I'm not gonna have this baby in the car. It'll be fine. And if I do, I do. And if I don't get there, I don't get there. That's another quote from The Office. Yeah, so definitely JD. He was freaking out. It's 6:20 on March 7th and it might be time to have this baby.
Just based on that.
You ready for this? We're stuck in traffic.
Rush hour, perfect.
JD's got a good invention.
A siren or something that you stick on your car that says in labor, and then hopefully people get the hell out of the way. Wait, but don't steal that idea, it's mine.
Okay. Gotta patent it before I post this.
Yeah.
So it is about 7:10. My water broke at 6:20, give or take. Very similar to how it was with Juliana, like very similar. Like I got up, but this time I was awake and I was like, okay, that doesn't really feel like pee. And I got up and it just all came out. So, but this time instead of it being at midnight, it was at 6:15 in the morning. So contractions right now are about like 7 minutes apart. So hoping to get there with some time. Hopefully this traffic
subsides a little bit.
But also, other than the rush hour traffic, I don't think either of us were like freaked out. Okay, next question is, how did it compare to Juliana's delivery? Did you feel more prepared this time? And that is from Denise. Yes, 1,000,000,000,000,000,000,000%. I reference a lot of like things that I've already said in my what's in my hospital bag video, but also you guys have to forgive all of these breakouts on my face. It's gonna be that time of the month for me here soon. Because Juliana came a month early, I don't know if I shared this with you guys. I know that I definitely told you Juliana came a month early, but Jack almost made it to full term. I had him at 37 weeks and 6 days. So if he would have waited one more day, he would have been 38 weeks full term baby. But he missed it by 1 day. 1 day. Juliana was born at 36 weeks. So she was definitely like late preterm. But it just kind of sucked because Jack was considered late preterm because he was early by a day. So that was kind of annoying. And they still had to do like all the precautions and stuff because he was a late preterm baby. It's kind of annoying, but you know, I get it. That's what they have to do to make sure that he's safe and all that good stuff. So, but anyway, because Juliana came a month early, I packed my hospital bag 2 months early with Jack. So things like that, I just felt more prepared. I definitely was way more into nesting this time with Jack, like 1,000,000,000%. Like, I know that I did it with Juliana, but oh my God, this time I wanted to get rid of everything. I wanted to, you know, set up whatever we had pending. And not because like everyone was like, don't worry, the baby's not gonna even use that until, and I'm like, that's not it. That's not the, I'm not thinking like, oh, the baby's gonna get here and he's gonna need to go in his bouncer. Like, obviously I know that, but the thing is, do you think it's gonna get easier once the baby's here? You think I'm gonna have more time? You think JD's gonna have more time? Like, I don't know. So I wanted to get a lot of stuff done, and I had my baby shower earlier. I had, I started putting things away from my baby shower the week after the shower. So like everything was just a lot quicker. This light is making me look so washed out, but I promise that's like my same skin color, I promise. I'm gonna put bronzer though, don't worry. I'm sure you guys were super worried. So with that kind of stuff, like the house, I definitely felt more prepared. The one thing I feel like I wasn't prepared for was I know I wasn't prepared for, like beforehand I knew it, and I definitely wasn't when the time came, was going from having 1 kid to 2. That was probably the biggest adjustment on our family. I wanted to talk about this because like I actually wanted to make a whole video on this because I'm grateful that I live in a time where so much information is accessible to me, like TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that. Yes, there's definitely a negative side to it, like getting overly informed, or you know, you get like a lot of bad information or information that overwhelms you and stuff like that. I definitely understand that that's part of it. I do. But I'm grateful that like if there's something that I came across on TikTok that I'd never heard of or something like that, I think that that's wonderful. Why wouldn't I use all the resources provided to me? Like, I feel like that's a thing that like, I don't want to say older people, but kind of like older people, or you know, like millennials or Gen Z, like you guys over research everything and you worry about everything, and it's like, I understand that. I don't think that I fit that mold or whatever you want to call it, but also my camera cut off, sorry. That's fine if you want to think like that, but I kind of think the other way of like, if I have all this information provided to me, why would I not use it? If you know, if my pediatrician is right at my fingertips and I can just message him, or my OBG or anybody like that, why wouldn't I reach out and ask? Right? Like, anyway, I'll get off my little soapbox. But with the reason I'm bringing all that up is because I think that I was definitely getting warned. That sounds dramatic, but like I was getting some information regarding going from 1 to 2, and they were talking about a lot of things that, or the videos that I was seeing were bringing up a lot of things that I was already like, I was having major mom guilt about it. Like, how am I going to split my heart into 2? How am I going to give Juliana my attention when this little baby is going to actually be depending on me for, like, you know, staying alive? How am I going to give myself to JD? Like, how am I going to be an attentive wife? And I'm sorry, but lowest on the totem pole were my damn dogs. Like, how am I going to take them out for walks or anything like that when I'm recovering? And obviously that wasn't really something I was super worried about, but you know what I mean. But going from 1 to 2, I definitely had a lot of mom guilt, a lot of like anticipation and build up regarding going from 1 to 2. I was super worried about Juliana. I was. And like, is she gonna get the same attention? No, right? That's like the very, very obvious answer. No, she's not, because the baby is gonna require a lot from me. So the one thing that like advice that I would give, or one thing that I wish I would have prepared for a little bit more, or been told, or I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, because like I'm not devastated, right? Like it's okay, but one thing that I wasn't really as prepared for was the splitting of the family. So, you know, JD and I always would do bedtime with Juliana together. Not so much so towards the end of my pregnancy, because as I was saying, I pretty much put myself on bed rest towards the end of my pregnancy. And I'm glad I did, because I think that's how I was able to keep Jack in there longer than Juliana. So towards the end of my pregnancy, JD was doing like bedtime with her. But before that, before I was like immobile, we did everything as like us three. Like JD and I did bath time with her. Like we would give her a bath, and then we would do bedtime, and she would do something with him, and like I would do something with her. Like it was just always us three. And obviously, you know, she's 5. Like we would do things like we would go to SeaWorld, or we go to the park all together. Or, like we take the dogs for a walk and stuff like that. And now, I don't want to be so dramatic and say like we never do that, but especially in the early phases when Jack was a newborn and like I was healing and stuff, obviously I was not around as much, or like, you know, I would give Jack to JD, and then like I would try to do one-on-one things with her, but JD was usually doing one-on-one things with her, and that was fine, because to me it was more important that like her life didn't just stop once we had Jack, right? Like I don't want her to not go to SeaWorld anymore. I don't want her to like say, can we just go to the park today? And you know, no, we can't because the baby or whatever. So, and that was another thing I always tried to say, like, yes, we can, but after this, or daddy will take you after this. I never use the words, no, I can't, because of Jack. That's something else I learned, like gives them resentment towards the baby, because they start thinking, mommy can't do anything because of this damn baby, you know? So the breaking of the family unit. So like, breaking sounds so definitive. That's not what I mean. I just mean we were so used to doing things together all the time. And then that changed drastically when the baby was here, obviously. That's something that I wish I would have been a little bit more prepared for, if you will. Just knowing that it is going to be a little rocky for the time being, but that like we will get back to it. So I have a friend right now that's like kind of in the same phase of life as I am. Like our kids are the same distance, like age apart. And I tried to tell her the same thing. Like, look, you are definitely going to feel this like space between you guys, but it will change. Like mine is not back, but it's getting there. It's growing. We're slowly starting to come back as a family unit, you know? But that's definitely something that I wasn't prepared for. And I don't think that's actually what her question was. I think she was more so like, were you prepared like mentally for labor? But I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys, because that's something, going from 1 to 2, splitting of our family is one thing that I don't think I was as prepared for as I would have liked to be. Yeah, so one of the questions is like, how is it different with 2 kids? That's exactly it, you guys. It's hard. I absolutely, like, I think this is a great debate amongst mothers. Like, some moms think that it's more difficult going from 0 to 1. I absolutely think it's more difficult going from 1 to 2. I just think when there's 1, well, I guess there's pros and cons because I kind of contradict myself with some things. When you're a first time mom, everything is just like the end of the world. And that is something that I am so like, I'm a different mother. I'm a different mother this time. And I give myself like mom guilt about that sometimes because I feel like I feel like Jack gets this version of me that Juliana never got, which is this like chill mom. Like I'm happy with him all the time. I'm smiling at him all the time. And I feel like Juliana got robbed of that because I was a first time mom and like always panicking and stuff. But that's the beauty of being a second time mom. Like, you know that you don't have to sweat all the small stuff, right? Like, it's gonna be okay. If they're crying, it's probably, you know, this or that, and it'll pass, you know. When you're a first time mom, everything's like, oh my God, I need to call the nurse. Oh my God, this isn't normal. She's been crying. Like, I need to, you know, everything feels so catastrophic your first time. So that is different, but I just had so much mom guilt for spending so much time with Jack. And it isn't even like, obviously, because I'm choosing one over the other. He just needed me, you know. I was nursing him and I nursed him. I still am. So it had to be me a lot of the time, you know. And both of my kids were very like mommy. Just now Juliana's more like daddy's girl for sure. But as babies, oh my gosh. And Jack is the same, attached to me, but he's pretty good. Like he'll go with other people. Juliana was not. She was like, no, give me my mom. But it's hard because obviously she loves JD and she loves being with him, but if she can't have me, she wants me, right? So, or she'll say like, why can't mommy do bedtime? Or I'll try, and like, it's time for Jack to eat, or I don't know. It was very difficult managing that. Like, we definitely had a lot of, what do you call that? Like power struggles. We definitely went through our fair share of that with her during the beginning stages. But I will say, like, one thing I definitely have to give credit to Juliana is she did go through like jealousy spurts, but never towards Jack. Never. Like, she would get irritated with JD and I, or exasperated with us, or frustrated, but she always wanted to hold Jack. She always wanted to help, you know, like with diapers and stuff like that. Like, she just never to this day has taken anything out on Jack. Like, I will tell you guys right now, I hope I don't cry talking about this because I literally am doing my mascara as I say it. One of my most favorite things that's like new right now is that if JD and I say anything like, come on Jack, like in any, like even if it's the smallest negative connotation towards Jack, Juliana gets so defensive of him. JD was not talking to Jack the other day. Like, he said something like, oh my God, like that. And Juliana turned to him and she goes, don't say mean things to him. She said, don't say mean things to my baby. And JD was like, I didn't. I was talking about, I don't even know. I think it was football, maybe. Like, he was watching football. And I praised her. I said, good job standing up for your brother. And then she'll say things like, we'll be working on her homework, and Jack hates when we have to do that because he just has to like kind of sit with us or watch us or whatever. So he gets bored easy and he starts like screaming bloody murder, and like not even crying. He just wants to scream to let you know that he doesn't want to be there. And so we'll say like, okay Jack, or like JD will say, oh my gosh Jack, or something, and Juliana will say like, don't talk to him like that, he's just a baby. Don't talk to him like that. Babies do that. Like, sheesh. I love it so much though. Like, she's got his little bag, and I love my kids. Oh my God. Oh my God, do I love my kids. I'm literally trying so hard. You hear my voice. I'm trying. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna cry. I look so washed out. It's like Erika had 2 babies and then she forgot how to do her makeup. Okay, I have a lot of questions asking like how the sibling gift went. I did share with you guys the gifts between Jack and Juliana. Somebody asked about that, and then somebody asked how like the meeting of them two went. But the other question, oh boy, what happened here? The other multiple question I got was like, how was the labor versus like with Jack with Juliana. So I guess I'm gonna kind of just like go through it with you guys. I'm gonna give you like, I like how I say the sped up version, but y'all know I can't tell a sped up story to save my life. So to give you like the grand window of time, Juliana, I went into labor with her, or my water broke like at midnight, like I said, and I didn't have her until like 4:54 p.m. And with Jack, my water broke with him at 6:15 in the morning, and I had him at 3:17. So still like a pretty decent amount of time, but much shorter than my labor with Juliana. I feel like my labor was painful for a longer period of time with Juliana, and then with Jack, it escalated quickly. I don't know if you guys know this about me or why you would, oh, there's also, I don't know why you would know this, but if you didn't know this about me, I have severe back pain, chronic, can I say chronic back issues? Probably. I throw my back out probably like once every few months, and it's the actual worst. I don't wish it on anybody because it's debilitating and just horrible. Especially when you're a mom, you can't do anything. So I've thrown my back out. I definitely threw it out with Juliana. I threw it out with Jack, and I was going to the chiropractor and stuff, and you know, doing what he could do for me, even though I was pregnant. So I did keep telling like all the nurses and everything this time around. Like this time around, I was definitely more vocal and upfront and honest about the way that I was feeling or what I was going through. Is it normal that I'm feeling this? What have you? So I kept telling them, I don't want to be laying down so much because my back really hurts, and laying down or being in that like kind of hunched position really kills my lower back. So she kept saying, okay, well, when you have the epidural, obviously you can't be up. So like, you know, hang on for as long as you can. With Juliana, I made it, I think almost to 7 centimeters dilated. And that's when I got the epidural. With Jack, I like standing up and walking around was the best way for my back, like to relieve some pressure from my back. So I remember I was walking from one post of my bed to the next post of my bed, and I was already like strapped up, right? So they're monitoring my contractions and everything like that. I'm telling you, you guys, I was like good, chatty. I was talking to the girl about like my Invisalign, because she's like, do you want me to get you anything to eat, because you can't eat once I give you the epidural. And so I was like, well, maybe I should eat something and then put my aligners back in, so that way they're not out for like the hours that are coming next, right? The things that you have to think about when you have Invisalign, I swear. So I was telling her like, sure, I'll just have like, I don't know what she got me, freaking apple juice, because that's what I was wanting, like 9-day, and graham crackers, I think is what she brought me. So I'm like walking, right? I have my aligners out, and I'm walking, eating like a graham cracker, and I'm just waddling to the next side of the bedpost, and I'm on my way back, and I'm like, oh my God. Like I went from 0 to 100 with pain. Like I'm telling her before, I'm like, I'm good. I'm like maybe at a 3 with pain. Oh my God, you guys, I shot up to like an 8. It was so bad. And I was like, oh my God, I can't. And I remember my knuckles were like, I was holding on to the posts of the bed, and my knuckles were white. Like I couldn't talk through them. You know, that's one thing they ask you, like, can you talk through your contractions? I could not. I would get irritated if JD was like asking me a question mid-contraction. I'm like, do you not see what my body's doing? So then JD got to like, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but like he was watching the monitor, and he would tell me like, okay, here comes a contraction, or like he would see like, okay, it's starting to, you know, dip down, whatever. But I had to get my epidural a lot quicker with Jack, because oh my God, you guys, I felt like, so Jack came out 1 pound bigger than Juliana. Yeah, so Jack came out 7 pounds 7 ounces, and he that's already like, that's more than a full pound more, like that's over a full pound bigger than Juliana was. So we actually thought he was going to be a lot bigger. He was measuring a lot bigger earlier in my pregnancy, but towards the end he, I don't know, got like more normal sized, I guess. But it felt like he was just like right there, and I'm like, I have to be so dilated because this feels awful. Like I remember That's how quick it happened. I was walking around the bed, right? And you can't walk behind it because that's where all the wires are. So I literally just went around my bed and back. And in that time, I was like, nope, 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 nope. Give it now. Get it now. Because they had told me. They were like, we can do it now. And then they're going to switch. The anesthesiologists are going to switch. So I don't know how long that's going to take. So I'm like, no, get him, get him. She had left. I was like, I think I'll be okay. I told JD, you run and you find her and you don't let them switch. So they came, they got it done. This was much less like painful to me. Getting the epidural done this time, like I feel like it was just much, I was like, give it to me. Give it to me. Also granted, Juliana's was in 2018, so I definitely don't remember everything. So they gave me the epidural around like 11, and you guys, I was like, I couldn't talk through them, and I'm like, when is this gonna take effect? When is this gonna kick in? And they were like, it'll take like 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. So I'm watching the clock like, okay, 11:15, nothing. 11:16. I was like watching it like a hawk. Like I'm like, this is not getting any better. And so JD, I was like pushing the button, right? Because I didn't want to keep pushing it, but like, you know, and obviously when the pain gets worse, then you push it more. But I told JD, I said, it feels like they didn't even give it to me. Like it's so bad. So they kept checking me. They kept asking me like how, like rank your pain. I was like, no, this is horrible, you guys. Like it feels like you didn't even give it to me. So they had to give me this like other epidural. Like I don't think they had to give me, did they have to give me another shot? I don't remember. It was definitely like a bigger epidural, like a more intense one, because I was like, this is not fucking working. Like it hurts so bad. So they gave me that. My contractions were so bad, you guys. I remember this vividly as well. My contractions were so bad that Jack's heart was slowing down every time I had a contraction. So they were saying like, it's because your body is going through so much shock. Like every time you have a contraction, his heart rate is slowing down. So I was super comfortable. They gave me that like peanut thing to put in between your legs, and I was on one side and it felt the best. Like that's where I would feel the most comfort, but then his heart rate would start slowing down. So then they would need to make me move, and then they would like feel around and like feel for his heart and stuff. It was scary. Like Jack's labor was definitely a lot scarier. When I was pushing with Juliana, they told me like, your baby's heart rate is dropping. I need you to push this baby out like now. And then I did. I got her out in one final push when they told me that, because I was like petrified. But this time it was like, it wasn't time to push yet, and they kept like having to move me, and I'm like, what's going on? Like it was because my contractions were so intense. It was like making his heart rate slow down. So that was kind of one thing that like, once I got the epidural, like I couldn't really get comfortable because they kept moving me. And then they would move the band to see where he was. He was already like facing down and everything. Like nothing had changed with that. But so then I eventually got to 10, and I was like, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. Time to push. I had the oxygen mask this time. I don't remember having that with Juliana, but I was super tired this time for sure. This time it was just JD and I did not have my mom in there with me for this time, so I didn't get Jack's labor on video. So that's one thing that is different this time around. I did not get it on camera. I feel like the doctor that delivered Jack was much more animated and more, he was definitely trying to like make light. But one thing I remember and I really appreciate, like sometimes that's annoying, right? Like you don't want somebody belittling or making fun or like trying to make the situation like a funny one when you are literally like pushing a human being out of your area. I heard him speaking with the nurses like while I was pushing, and like, yeah, okay, we might have to do that. We might, yeah, okay, if it's not this, or like he seemed like he was talking about me obviously and the baby like like in front of me, and I hate that. So I said like, I can do it, like please let me just try. And he was like, no mom, you're doing this here. No, you're having this baby now. Like I thought they were giving me like a time, because they did that with Juliana. They said, if you don't have this baby out by 5, we're gonna take you in to have a C-section. And I had her at 4:54. Like I was like, nope. So I pushed her out. both of my kids, they needed to use that little like vacuum thing. So they both had cone heads, which is hilarious because JD did not know about that. He was like, why is his head like that? Or why is her, he knew it with Jack, but like with Juliana, he was like, why is her head like that? I'm like, well, it's the little, it'll go back to normal. It's okay. I remember in that moment, I was like, please don't tell me I need to have a C-section. Like after I've been working so hard, like I can do this. And he was like, no, I know you can. I know you can do this. Like you can do this. So he was like made it very casual and not dramatic. Like, no, you got this. You're not leaving here without this baby. You're not leaving this room without this baby. So that was very reassuring. And I loved how relaxed and nonchalant about it he was, because it made me calm down and not worry. Okay, I need to go because the baby's screaming and Zoe is literally demanding to be let out of here. So I'm hoping I can come back and finish this video, but I don't know when. Getting ready to leave for work, so I figured I would finish up this video. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I was talking about how like my labor with Jack was just so much more traumatic, I don't know. Yeah, his heart rate was dropping, but I did super appreciate the doctor like lightening the mood. I know that I was definitely sharing with you guys on that you know, making a joke or making light of a situation isn't always the most like, what is it, like bedside manners for a doctor, but I appreciated it because here I was as the patient, like not really knowing what was going on, and I was worried that they were discussing me and like what was going to be next for me and my baby in front of me, and he wasn't. So yeah, the only other like real scary thing that happened that definitely did not happen when I had Juliana, after I had Jack, it was gonna be like my first time to go to the restroom. For those of you that like either haven't had kids or it's been a long time since you've had them, what they do is, since you've been laying down for such a long period of time and the bottom half of your body like wasn't working because of the epidural, they have you sit up, stay like that for a second, then swing your legs over the bed, stay like that for a second, then stand up and like kind of get your bearings and see how you're feeling. And from there, you slowly like walk to the bathroom. They walk you? Yeah, they walk you to the bathroom. So I'm with the nurse, like my head nurse she was pretty good for the most part. Nothing like my nurses I had when I gave birth to Juliana. They were like the best. And my nurses this time around were just like good. They were good, like nothing bad about them. But this time I made like labor and delivery nurse baskets, which I still need to upload that TikTok or have it like ready to go, but I just never posted it. I had even made them that, and like, I don't know, not that I wanted her to make a big fuss about it, but it didn't seem like it just felt like, oh, thank you. I'm like, okay, you're welcome. And then like the next nurse that I had came in and she was like, were you the one that gave the baskets? Like I just had one of the Starbucks coffees. Like, so she seemed a little more like gracious, I guess, because, you know, I wrote, and then I waited and I wrote them each personalized notes. So like I wrote a note to my lactation consultant. I wrote a note to my specific like head nurse. I wrote a note to just like a few people. And so that was something that I wanted to do, like personalized. I didn't want to just like put a note saying like, thank you for taking care of us or something to whoever opened it, right? I put like energy drinks and the coffee frappuccino things and bottled water, I think gum. I put hair ties, and I did like healthy snacks and not healthy snacks. And then one thing I did that I learned on TikTok, a lot of people give the nurses pens, like really pretty pens, but they're only allowed to use either black ink or blue ink. So my whole basket theme was blue, since Jack was a boy, obviously, or is a boy. So I did all blue. So I did like blue Orbit gum, snacks that had like blue packaging, and I did blue pens, like blue ink pens. That was obviously not something I did for Juliana's nurses, but I wish I would have. We sent them flowers afterwards because I just loved them so much. They were just, oh my gosh, they made my labor with Juliana just so, like, they really believed in me, and it was just incredible support. But anyway, this nurse was taking me to the restroom. I turned to her and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna faint. And she's like, okay, you know, you obviously like lose a lot of blood, so like I'm gonna stay, like, are you okay to sit on the toilet? And I'm like, I think so. So she like walks me and sits me down on the toilet, and I'm trying to pee, and I'm like, I think, and I call out to her like, JD, or get the nurse, I feel like I'm gonna faint. And like, sure enough, she's like, okay, we need more people, we need a wheelchair. So she's getting more nurses to come in, and I know she lifted me up off of the toilet, but like, I have no idea. The next time I came to, I was already like almost to the bed. So they had lifted me from the toilet to the wheelchair to my bed, and I don't remember that at all. So I was fine, but I never had that happen to me at the hospital with Juliana. And another thing that I'm going to be really honest with you guys about, one thing that stayed with me for a really long time after, I would say maybe like weeks, like 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks postpartum, every time I would stand up, you guys, every time I would stand up to like get up or get Jack or whatever, like after I gave birth, while I was still in the hospital, I would stand up and just, if I had to pee, it would just come right out. Like my muscles were just non-existent. And I kept telling every time a nurse would change, I would say like, every time I stand up, I'm peeing myself. Like, I'm trying to be better at going pee, so that way I'm not holding a bunch and then I get up and it's like a ton. But that was like the best advice they could give me, is like, go pee more frequently, because I'm breastfeeding, right? So like, they're like, drink water, drink water. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to drink water, but every time I would get up, I would just pee everywhere. And I'm like, is this normal? They were like, yeah, you know, it could be. Like, I felt like nobody gave me a definitive answer. And then when I came home, I started to get really concerned because it kept happening. So I would say like a week or a week and a half, maybe not 2 weeks, but it happened for a while. And I was like, I definitely do not remember this at all with Juliana. Like maybe the first time, definitely not like continuously at the hospital, and definitely not continuously when I came home. So I was super nervous about that, but I'm happy to report I can stand up and not pee. See? No pee. So my postpartum journeys, I guess you would say, were both very good, I guess. I would say the one weird thing with my postpartum journey with Jack, I would say, is that I got pain down there on day like 6 through 10 postpartum. I remember coming home with Juliana and like being in pain the first couple of days, like laughing even hurt. But with Jack, I was fine. Like I felt pretty good. And then like day 6 was like, this hurts. I was getting really weird pains like in my abdominal area and down there as well. But I was definitely much less scared this time. This is going to be a big time overshare, but again, I feel like we're past that. I was so scared to take a shower when I first had Juliana. I was worried to clean that area. I was worried I was just gonna like gently clean myself and rip my stitches out. I was petrified. Like I remember researching like all of these things, and like girls were getting shamed because nobody had told me like go home and use the, they did tell me about the cleaning care with the peri bottle and everything, but I feel like no one really went over like my first shower with me. So if that's something that like maybe if you're watching this, you're a first time mom and you're like embarrassed, you don't even need to leave it in the comments, honey. Like, first of all, that's not something you should be embarrassed to ask about. I hate that society makes us feel embarrassed about these things. Like, we should just know. We should not just know. It's our first rodeo too, and that's okay. But if you are embarrassed, you shouldn't be. But if you are and you just want to be a little bit more discreet, shoot me a message on Instagram. I will never judge you. I will never judge you. But I remember being like, okay, I bought this like coconut oil based baby shampoo, I think, or I was given it for my baby shower with Juliana. I was like even using that because I was so scared that like harsh soaps were gonna mess me up down there as well. So the reason I bring up that like first postpartum shower is a lot of people talk about it in this like, oh my gosh, taking a shower at home for the first time was so nice. And I do understand that because there is something so like icky about showering in a hospital. But again, like if you haven't been like prepared, it could be very daunting. So I kind of just wanted to throw that out there. But like, if that doesn't tell you how opposite this was, I took a shower the day, like the moment we made it back. Was it that? Maybe the next day. I showered the next day. I showered the next day and put concealer and blush on. Like, who is she? She's a second time mom. That's who. So I did take a shower in the hospital. Yeah, and then I came home and like showered like regular and all that stuff. But I hate that stigma that we put on. Like, it's just so frustrating. Anyway, yeah, so my bleeding was pretty like coming and going, which is pretty common. I remember my bleeding would like kind of come and go, and then when it would kind of fade away, I'm like, oh good, like I'm done. And then it would come back in like another surge, and that was just such a scary feeling. But again, as a second time mom, you definitely know a little bit more. So I do remember this time it lasted a lot longer, my bleeding. But nothing like abnormal, like everything was fine. I have so many opinions on like postpartum care, but I do think that that is going to be what I'm going to address in my like what I used in my hospital bag versus what I took, because I took a lot of those like cold pack things and you know, the padsicles, all that beautiful like sandwich layering of the pads and the cooling, you know, witch hazel, like all that sandwich goodness of pads and just postpartum care. I had so many different things. Like I used a lot of different brands and from the hospital and things like that. So I kind of wanted to touch on that, things that I preferred versus others and stuff like that, because I was definitely more like better equipped this time around. I feel like last time I just took whatever the hospital gave me, which was great, but I just liked having more options this time. I also have a ton of notes regarding like breastfeeding, things that I wanted to remember. So I guess I could probably make a whole nother video on that, because breastfeeding in and of itself is like that's a whole different world. But one thing I will say about that day, I called my mom at you know, in the morning, and I was like, I think it's time. So she rushed over here. Juliana was still asleep. Juliana was literally waking up as we were out the door. She had picture day the day that I went into labor, so my mom had to come and like brush her hair and get her ready for school. So Juliana just had like a regular day. And that was another question that everybody keeps asking about, is like how the first interaction was between Jack and Juliana. And the beauty of filming this video, so further down the road from when I actually had Jack, like after my labor and delivery, is I can really speak to their relationship and their bond. She really is just the sweetest girl, and so considerate and so thoughtful. And I will say, like, the novelty of Jack has worn off. Like, she's not so like, oh my gosh, right? But she loves him tremendously and asks about him and looks for him. And, you know, she definitely is more like, oh, is Jack going to bed now? Because she knows that means like she's gonna get her one-on-one time. When they first met, it's like I could only tell her in so many ways that like the baby that was in my stomach was gonna be out of my stomach, and like we're keeping the baby forever. Like, how does a 5-year-old compute that? Well, she was 4 then, almost 5. But how does a 4-year-old like understand that? That's a lot, right? That's a lot for an adult, let alone a 4-year-old. So I don't know how much of that she actually understood, but like when we brought Jack home, to see her like just immediately want to hold him, and just, it's like maybe she didn't understand, but she wanted to process like so bad. Like she just wanted this to be hers, you know? And it's just, I'm currently in like such a very I don't know what to say, like not intense, but a very like fragile state right now with Jack. He is, I think I said, he's teething. He's you know, we just had daylight savings. He's in a sleep regression. A lot of weird things are going on right now. But even in like the thick of this, in this really difficult season, like I'm just overwhelmed with how lucky I am that these are my kids. I just am so proud of like the way that they love, which sounds so weird, but like even Jack as a baby, I think he has this gift to just make you feel like you're so loved. Like he looks at you just like he understands, and I don't think that's just me. He just brings this joy that's insane and overwhelming and consuming. And Juliana is just so sweet and tender and concerned and like so tentative. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but them two together and like interacting with one another is just so, I couldn't have, like in my wildest dreams, I couldn't have like imagined. Oh my god, I need to not talk about this anymore. It was a wonderful encounter. I definitely think that she was not completely understanding the situation just yet, like that this was Jack and we were gonna keep him and this is what was inside my tummy kicking her hand, you know. But we're all doing good. We're all doing good. We're all happy. We're all soaking in this precious baby, and yeah, that's it. That is a very not short but not full length story of Jack and him coming into this world. If you guys are curious, I did not poop. I feel like somebody out there wants to know but was too embarrassed to ask that I did not poop myself on the delivery table. I told JD, I said, please be honest with me. And he said with neither kid. I didn't poop with either kid. So I guess there's that. It's a very natural thing to do because when you're pushing, you don't know what you're pushing. It's just all down there. So what are you gonna do? That's why they don't feed you. JD, speaking of JD, he is the best partner and was the best partner, obviously, there that day to help me welcome Jack into the world. We're all doing good. I'm gonna wrap up this video before I burst into tears for like the 7th time. If I didn't answer a question of yours, or you're curious, or again, if it's something that like you don't really want to ask publicly, that's totally fine. Send me a message on Instagram. I will be more than happy to get to you. As far as my labor and delivery goes, that's pretty much it. Obviously, that is like 1% of the whole thing, but it was obviously such a blur, and I can't believe it was already 8 months ago, like to the day almost. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know I say it at the end of every video, but this is just such like a personal matter to me, and the fact that you guys care and inquired about it means so much. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back again for the next one. Bye.